Welcome to the Rainy Day Rabbit Holes podcast, your escape from the mundane.
Dive into the rich history of the Pacific Northwest with us and let your mind wander down the rabbit hole.
Because in the Northwest, it's always raining something weird.
What do giant pumpkins, cephalopods, wiffle balls, and body paint have to do with the Northwest?
I'm Shea.
And I'm Jody. Let's fall down the rabbit hole. It's a damp, misty day in the Pacific Northwest. It's the summer of 1965, and the smell of the wet earth beneath the evergreen trees is strong. The sound of birds only intermittent as the sun is hidden behind the clouds. It's a very typical Pacific Northwest day that inspired a series of events resulting in what is now the fastest growing and most popular sport in the country. Even if Shea thinks ball sports are stupid and nobody will find this entertaining, I won't let her ruin pickleball. In fact, please, after this episode, go to rainydayrabbitholes.com and let Shea know how you feel about this sport, because she's truly in denial that anyone would want to hear about it.
You're all wrong. Just saying it first.
Shame her. She needs shame. In honor of summer, the time of year I wait the rest of the year for, we are bringing you an episode that's less salacious than our typical episodes. But don't worry, there's plenty of innuendos. Today, we are highlighting some of the fun, unique characters and activities that make the Pacific Northwest such a unique and interesting place. Before we go into the origins of the global phenomenon, yes, global,
whatever,
of pickleball, and how it started right here in the Pacific Northwest in a very Pacific Northwest way, let's dive down some smaller but very idiosyncratic rabbit holes. Yes, I used my synonym tool for that.
I love it. Nice job. And I can't believe that you managed to say idiosyncratic, like one take. Nice job.
Oh, I've practiced. And by the way, it means rather unusual, which is fitting.
Oh, see, I didn't even know what it meant.
Well, I figured. I found that in the synonym tool. I didn't know what it meant. I actually had to look up the definition.
It's like enigmatic. Yeah. I keep using it, and do I even know what it means? It just makes me sound smart.
Right. Big words equals intelligence. Totally. Doesn't matter how you use them.
Also, apparently swear words, from what I've heard.
It is a sign. We're going to start with Octopus Wrestling. It's a team sport.
Yeah.
Two reasons Shea's going to hate this story is harming octopuses and teams, team sports.
Yeah. I was always picked last. That is why I hate team sports.
The headline reads, Giant Octopus Drags Youth to His Death in the Sound, in an unnamed Tacoma 1922 newspaper article where a teen is reportedly dragged from his boat by a devilfish to the Sound just outside of Tacoma.
Oh, yeah. It has to go to Tacoma because Tacoma is where all the weird things are.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
This is definitely a Tacoma thing. At the time, these creatures were feared as predators who drug victims into watery graves. So hunting the predator became a local sport off the shores of Puget Sound.
Oh, man.
The devilfish.
They were just living their lives.
It reminds me of, what was it, the devil apes in our story about Bigfoot early on, and they love to use that devil word to describe these horrific things.
Nothing's worse than a devil.
A devil something. Whatever it is, add devil. Octopus wrestling became a popular sport and in 1963 drew 5,000 spectators to Titlow Beach for the World Octopus Wrestling Championships, a televised event.
Titlow. Your tits are low.
I've been to Titlow Beach.
We were there. We went to the brewery in the marina. Just before we went to the Fort Silicon tour.
That's right. And
that's Titlow. It's a beautiful neighborhood.
Put 5,000 people down there to watch octopus wrestling.
Wow.
It seems insane.
Yeah. How many tits were low?
They're all low tits.
Oh, it was the 60s. There was a ban on bras.
Yeah, right. They burned all their bras. The tits were low.
The tits were low.
Oh, gosh.
We're so dumb.
I love it. Teams of 3 divers would find an octopus cave. One diver would jam his hand into the hole and grab the octopus, and the octopus would, of course, fight back. Once he wrestled the octopus from his den, it took all 3 divers to wrestle to the surface while the poor cephalopod fought back, grabbing at them and often ripping off their scuba masks, obscuring their view.
I hate this.
I know, I figured you would. There's a good ending.
Okay.
Ripping the scuba mask off was so common, it was part of the scoring process. Divers were awarded 1 point per pound for the octopus that they brought to shore. And if it was done without a scuba mask, you got 2 points per pound.
How many points do you get if the octopus kills you?
Ooh, I think you're the winner.
Yeah.
While the event was televised and drew a huge crowd, it was not as entertaining as everyone had hoped. Once out of the water, the octopus were flaccid and had a hard time maintaining a fight in them.
They had a hard time maintaining hardness.
Yes.
They were flaccid.
The sport is often compared to modern day wrestling, where the commentators play a huge role in the story. And as it turns out, it's rigged. They stocked the waters with large octopus ahead of time to ensure divers would actually find them so that they could surface with them. The sport was outlawed in 1976. That's the part I thought would make you happy.
Yes.
Making hunting an octopus only legal if you intended to eat it. In recent years, hunting octopus for any reason is illegal on half a dozen shores of the Puget Sound, protecting the octopus there.
Good. They're very smart. You got to go back and listen to our Monsters of the Salish Sea or Sea Monsters of the Salish Sea or whatever the heck our episode is called.
Yes.
Release the Kraken. That's
Release
what it's
the
called.
Kraken.
Yeah, we talk about octopuses in there and the giant Pacific octopuses in the Puget Sound.
Yeah, they're described as intelligent, graceful ballerinas of the sea.
Yes.
So population had changed their mind by the 1970s about octopus. And while octopus wrestling is very weird and thankfully no longer an event, the West Coast Pumpkin Regatta is an event still happening today. Pumpkin Regatta, you say? How do pumpkins and boat races go together?
And those pumpkins have feelings.
Do they?
If you're a fruitarian.
Am I going to not eat anything?
I'm just going to have to slowly starve to death.
Yes.
No.
Deplete.
We're fine. Why else do you grow a giant pumpkin?
I think just to ride in it.
You put it in the fair and then you ride in it.
Yes, that's exactly what you do with these pumpkins. These pumpkins are going to fairs. In Tualatin, Oregon, a pumpkin regatta is something pumpkin cultivators spend their entire summer working toward. In 2004, the pumpkin giant vegetable growers were looking for where to do their end of season row and carved out pumpkins. They found Tualatin to be just the place, and the lake at Tualatin Commons has been home to the annual fall event, drawing thousands of people each year. Growers aren't necessarily rowers. Growers from all over the country now submit their giant pumpkins to enter into the race for other rowers to row. Rowers are required to wear costumes. The pictures show people dressed as nuns, those inflatable dinosaurs, and my favorite is people dressed in inflatable pumpkins getting in the pumpkin.
Just the getting into it has to be hilarious. So it's kind of like the soapbox derby races.
Yes.
That Red Bull puts on that everybody's like in a weird costume.
Yep.
They love it.
Went after that and just the vessel is the only difference.
I love it. I approve of this sport.
Yes. I figured you would.
Thumbs up.
In fact,
But I love pumpkins. You know me and pumpkins.
Yes. In fact, I'm including you in yes.
It's a sport I can get behind.
Yes.
I'll even row in it.
Absolutely. Yes. It's like you read my mind. And the crowds bring their own chairs and sit in ponchos and raincoats because that's how you have to dress.
When does it happen?
Happens in October.
Okay.
It's part of their fall festivals.
I want to go.
Yes, I feel like we need to challenge your husband to grow us a giant pumpkin.
Well, it's too late now, but
right,
maybe next year.
For 2025.
When you started bringing this up, I was like, I wonder if we could grow a giant pumpkin in our backyard. We have the space.
Yeah, for 2025, because I think we are the perfect candidates for it. Because here, I'm clipping this straight from the website. How can I paddle a giant pumpkin? Number 1, convince your company to become a Sasquatch level sponsor, which we're already there.
That's us.
Our LLC has the word Sasquatch in it. And then volunteer to be a paddler. Leave a copy of the sponsor info on your boss's desk. Casually walk around the office in a costume while carrying a kayak paddle, saying things like "arg" and "ahoy, matey" to help increase your help move your cause. It's number 1.
Well, I work from home, but I will still do those things.
Right, exactly. I was thinking, since we're our own boss in this, we should just do it just for fun. Okay.
Oh my God, because we'll wear Sasquatch costumes.
Yes, with the extra bikini tops. Because Shea determined that they're like cats and have 8 nipples.
And so we have to wear 4 bikini tops on our Sasquatch costume to cover all of our Sasquatch nipples. I love it.
Part kitty, part ape.
Real quick, I'm going to interrupt you one more time here because speaking of Sasquatch nipples, guys, our Patreon now has its very first official bonus episode.
Oh.
It's live. You might regret listening to it.
We regretted making it.
It is all about Bigfoot erotica, and it is pure filth.
It is.
If that sounds like your kind of thing, you can listen to it for the low, low price of $5 per month, and we'll be starting to put out a bonus episode every single month. And I promise they won't all be completely inappropriate. Yeah.
Actually, you won't need therapy after all the episodes, just this one.
Yeah, just this one. The rest of them are actually pretty tame. Not even any swear words in them. This one, though, woo. So if that sounds like your sort of thing, filthy humor, then head on over to patreon.com and look for the Rainy Day Rabbit Holes podcast, or you can go to our website and you can find the link there, and you can help support us because podcasting ain't free, my friends.
Nope.
We have already put a lot of money into this, and it costs us money every single month. So that little donation actually just helps cover our costs. We're not getting rich off of you, I promise. Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
If enough of you sign up, maybe then I can actually get paid for the 25 hours a week I spend on the podcast.
Maybe
just a little bit.
Help sponsor our Pumpkin Regatta entry.
Oh, there you go. We're going to do a GoFundMe for that.
There we go. GoFundMe. Get Shea and Jody to their pumpkin.
Get their butts in a pumpkin.
We're going to need more than the GoFundMe, though, because this is how it works. Sign up for the Pumpkin Paddling Quest. That will be open August 1st through September 5th. That's this year.
Okay.
People will be selected and placed on the list of potential paddlers. All others will be placed on a list of alternatives. What are the odds of being chosen? In 2023, 158 people signed up for the lottery and 25 were chosen.
That's still pretty good odds, though.
Yeah. So by listening to this, people will be selected and placed on the list of potential paddlers. All will be placed on the list of alternatives. So how do they select the first ones that are potential paddlers? And is that like, if I submit my own pumpkin, I want to row my own pumpkin, can I do that?
I don't know. So did they say it's a lottery?
Yeah.
That is just random?
Yeah. So then it says people will be selected and placed on a list of potential paddlers. All others will be placed on the list of alternatives. What are your odds of being chosen?
Yeah, so they don't say anything about criteria. Maybe
Mm-mm.
they just literally do it randomly.
Yeah. And then to put your pumpkin in, you got to grow your own giant pumpkin and become a member of the Pacific Giant Vegetable Growers.
Yes. Do they get a card?
I bet you do. I bet you
want
get
a card
your
that
picture on it.
I can whip out. In fact, we'll put that'll be the backside of our business card. Is members of the Giant Vegetable Growers Association.
Yes.
Do it. That's goals. Goals. Hashtag giant pumpkin goals.
And the picture that goes with it is us in our Sasquatch costume with our 4 bikini tops.
Each one slightly smaller as it goes down.
I don't know. I think mine are bigger. They just like lay on top of each other and they get smaller as they go up.
Okay, that's weird.
Okay, so and then you can find tips on growing your giant pumpkins here on their website. And if you are growing a giant pumpkin and would like to paddle in it regatta, please reach out to Jim Sherwood. Okay, so anyway, it looks like
I wonder if that's a shoe-in. If that's you grow your own,
yeah,
if
that's
you're
what I'm
like,
thinking.
and I want to paddle it. And
Yeah.
I wonder if you sent a lot of info and pictures about like, look what characters we are with our Sasquatch costumes, with the bikini tops.
Ooh, I bet our odds would be better. Even.
Yeah. And we grew on pumpkin. I'm going to talk to Rich today.
Yeah, I knew it. That's why I put that in here. I was like, oh, this is us.
I think we're going to have to plant at least 3 or 4 vines and
Spread them out
see what happens. Yeah, because I've got a lot of big empty space.
with good
It's
sun.
just been waiting for, it's south facing. Mm-hmm. Just been waiting
for
for
a great idea.
If we're going to grow pumpkins, why not do something fun?
I
with
bet
them?
your mom would be way into this too.
Oh my gosh, she would love this. She'd be so into it.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you think we could fit in a giant pumpkin?
Well, it looks like one.
So I need to grow.
Oh my gosh, can we go down?
Can we have a team?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Can we play bumper boats with them?
Oh no. Can we grow a long one and make a canoe? I dare you. I bet your mom could figure it out. She's quite the agriculturist.
Well, and that's the thing. It'll be like, Mom, we're going to do this. I need you to come over and help tend the pumpkin. And
That's
she will.
right.
Great. I love it.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Paint her face on it somehow. Or you know how they do like that light carving on the outside that
There you
put her face.
We do
Drawn
that
by Sherry.
but then we puncture it and we just slowly sink. That would actually be kind of funny if we're just out there like spending the entire time bailing water out of our pumpkin.
We'll put a pump in it.
Actually, could we secretly do, because my old Hobie kayaks had the hole in the middle that you put the little fins through and you use your feet.
Oh, yeah.
Could we do a secret one inside?
Yes.
And so you just like have it up your shirt and you sit in and you secretly drop it and then you working your legs.
No one knows.
And then we get kicked out of the Pumpkin Regatta for cheating. And that right there would look great on a card.
I'm sorry, but that's legendary.
Yes. Kicked out of the Pumpkin Regatta for cheating. Rainy
Banned
Day
for life.
Rabbit Holes podcast.
Banned for
That would be amazing. Kind of want to do it now. I don't want to cheat to get kicked out just for the street cred, the Riz.
Exactly. That I think when I read all of it, I was like, no, this is so up our alley. It's in Tualatin. It's a road trip.
Love it.
Of note, pumpkin rowing was first introduced in 1996 in New Hampshire, but Tualatin has really made it the event it is today. And there's a lot of things that go with it. It's a whole festival outside of the rowing. So it's a fun event, it looks like. I think we would enjoy it.
I love harvest festivals and fall festivals. It's my favorite.
This is why I love the Northwest. Northwest weird is a saying for a reason, and that is one of them. Other events you want to look into: moss balling. Collect moss, form balls, and have a fight. Kind of like a snowball fight, but in the forest. I don't know how the scoring goes or who wins or how that works.
Also, how far can you throw?
I'm imagining the time of year. How wet is your moss?
Well, and it's
how
just
well
how
will your
far
ball
is it
travel?
going to go? It's just
If
going to
it's
go
wetter, it'll go farther. And do you get kind of that packs tight? Do you put mud with it? I don't know.
Well, I was going to say I would form mine with mud and moss.
Yeah, and make it heavier and travel farther.
You would be the champion of that, Miss Softball Queen.
Yep. And sandboarding, surfing the sand dunes off the coast of Oregon. I was thinking about when we drove by there.
Oh, yeah.
We weren't there at the time of year where I think we would see people actually.
But my brother would love to do that.
Sand surfing. And they do have competitions that are scored much like regular sea surfing. Lumberjack competitions, log rolling, axe throwing, and tree climbing. These are found at pretty much all of our fairs in the fall.
Oh, yeah.
But Buckley Log Show is June 29th and 30th this year, and they have all of that there.
We could go.
It's quite an event, actually.
We should go.
And then there's the Morton Logger Jubilee down in Morton, and that's the August 10th and 11th. So more lumberjack fun there. Naked bike rides, not really Northwest unique, except we have them throughout the summer in many, many cities. Portland, Seattle, and Bellingham all host the World Naked Bike Ride events.
In Bellingham, their nipples are all hard because it's a little bit colder up there.
It's chilly. And the shrinkage.
That's exactly.
But you don't know because, listen, dress code, dare as you bear, rules, don't stare. So you shouldn't know about those nipples, Shea.
Oh, I'm staring.
Or the shrinkage.
I'm a pervert,
Shea.
Remember? Specifically a Bigfoot pervert.
My BFF, the teenage boy. In a young woman's body.
So, in fact, this will come out after, but the Seattle Solstice Parade is this coming weekend in Fremont. And my husband and I, when we lived in Capitol Hill, used to go to that all the time. And so I would go down there at like 8 a.m. and I would set up our lawn chairs along the parade route and then walk over to Hales Brewing, which no longer exists because they had great breakfast. We'd sit there, we'd drink beer, we'd have breakfast, we'd come back. Rich would meet up with me and he would make a batch of margaritas in his Camelback.
Oh my God. Yes, perfect.
And we would watch the parade. It was so much fun because they would do themselves up in body paint. That was 90% of people wear body paint. They're not just completely nude.
Yep.
And the artistry is really amazing. They're really creative. And then there's different floats that are all insanely creative. It's so much fun. And while it sounds dirty, it's not. Like, people come there with their kids and they teach. I heard one family that was next to us. They're like, that's the human body. There's nothing dirty about it. They're all different, because I think like one little girl was like, that man's so fat or whatever. And they were like, we don't say that. That's not nice. Everybody's different and everybody's body is okay. And I was like, oh, that's lovely.
That was why it was originated in the first place.
Is for body positivity.
Yep. That was the whole message they wanted to have with this whole event.
Like, everybody is different and everybody is beautiful.
And acceptance.
Yes.
And being comfortable with your own naked body.
Well, let me tell you about two people that were incredibly comfortable with their naked bodies. The last one I went to this years ago. There's a couple that is walking down the street. They were not wearing any body paint. Both of them were in incredible shape and incredibly good-looking people. That man's hog, I kid you not, was just laying on his thigh almost to his knee. Rich was like, oh my God, I've never seen I mean, and he's like, if I had that, yes, I would just walk around with it out too. And the woman had the most beautiful set of breasts on her you've ever seen. They were wearing backpacks and sneakers and a smile.
They're just taking advantage of the
And I was
situation
like,
to show off.
yeah, you get it. Both of you.
They're like, this event was created for us.
I know.
We
They
have
were
no
just
choice
like-
but to enter.
I was like, oh my.
It's akin to us joining the Pumpkin Regatta. They were meant for it.
Remember, he's like, I got to show this thing to the world.
Right. I mean, why would I just keep this packed away?
Isn't in the Bible it say, don't keep your light under a bushel?
It was Sunday.
They were specifically talking about your hog. If your hog is 12 inches long, flaccid, don't keep it under
Yes.
a bushel.
Show it to the world. Share it. Oh my God. And that's why they invented naked bicycle races.
Well, I also saw a man who was fairly rotund and also wearing nothing. He was on a bicycle with a bicycle helmet and sneakers, and that was it.
Are you sure? Just kidding.
It was like a little button that was below his belly button.
You forget I'm a nurse. I've seen more penis than a prostitute.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So now back to the summer of 1965, a time where wealthy businessmen kept summer homes only an hour from the city. On picturesque Bainbridge Island, Washington, a peculiar sport was born out of sheer boredom and a series of fortunate accidents.
Must suck to be rich and bored.
Right? That's how you know. It's like you know the next words. The masterminds behind the ingenious creation were three middle-aged men with time on their hands and a good sense of fun. Joel Pritchard, a Washington state congressman, Bill Bell, a successful businessman, and Barney McCollum, a neighbor who was always up for a good laugh.
Let's bring
But
back the
first-
name Barney.
Yes, I know. He's quite a gem. But first, a break.
If you're a fan of quirky and offbeat historical tales, which I think you are because you're listening to this show, you'll love Plodding Through the Presidents, a podcast that delves into the bizarre, hilarious, and sometimes scandalous stories of America's presidents and their families. This show has quickly become one of my favorite podcasts. Hosted by Howard and Jessica Dorr, this podcast combines meticulous research with sharp humor, making history both entertaining and educational. Whether they're discussing presidential pets, untangling strange assassination plots, or exploring eerie mysteries, Howard and Jessica offer fresh and unique perspectives on historical events. Perfect for your commute, workout, or any moment you need a fascinating escape. Plodding Through the Presidents is a delightful mix of education and entertainment that I highly recommend. Take a listen.
I'm Howard Dory,
And I'm Jess Dory.
and we host Plodding Through the Presidents. We take deeply researched, deeply irreverent dives into the myths, mysteries, and scandals of the men and women who shaped America.
the only history podcast where you'll hear never before shared details about Thomas Jefferson's deadly ram and the truth about John Quincy Adams and the Mole People.
Yes! I bring the deeply researched narratives to Jess, who's hearing the story for the first time.
So I ground things a bit with my raw humanity.
So raw. We're diving into topics like how the first third party in America was founded by murder,
Murder.
the undeniable riz of Aaron Burr,
The what now?
and the odd feeding habits of everyone's favorite founder,
John Adams?
So whether you love history or you're lying to yourself, subscribe and follow Plodding Through the Presidents now to plot along with us.
Find out more and dive into previous bingeable seasons at plodpod.com.
I'll link Plodding Through the Presidents in the show notes. Now back to the show.
On this fateful day, Joel and Bill were returning from a round of golf when they discovered their families lounging around, grumpy and restless. Normally, the family would be frolicking at the beach, but the weather was unpermitting. The kids had exhausted their interest in every indoor game and were making it their parents' problem that they had run out of things to do. Determined to salvage the weekend, Joel and Bill decided to invent a new game on the spot. They headed out to Joel's garage to search for anything that might occupy the kids and keep them out of their hair. Armed with a couple of ping pong paddles and a wiffle ball they found under gardening tools, they headed down to the dilapidated badminton courts where Joel and Bill began to brainstorm. Their first attempts were chaotic at best, resembling a bizarre fusion of tennis, badminton, and the occasional dodgeball. The rules were murky and ever-changing, but the kids were intrigued as they watched their parents take over the game. This was so very Northwest to me. The weather was not good enough to go to the beach, but yet they went and played golf, and now they're down at the badminton court. Dress appropriately, I guess, but just not at the beach.
So it's probably like a little misty.
Yep.
So people that don't live here in the Pacific Northwest, it doesn't rain all the time. But sometimes there's this, it's almost like mist that's so heavy it makes you kind of wet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
it's not raining, but you walk around getting wet.
I mean, that's considered rain, I guess, but it's not like keeping you from being outside. It's not a torrential Hollywood downpour. It's just like, it's just damp. You're just damp here a lot.
Right. I joke sometimes, I'm like, oh, that's a wet rain. And people laugh at me. And I'm like, sometimes you can be out in the rain and just get a little damp. And sometimes you can be out in what feels like the same rain and get soaking wet. There's a difference in our rain.
And there are days we wake up where the humidity is so high that you just feel sticky even though it's cold.
Yes.
Like it's cold and damp. And those are the days where like your bones hurt.
Yeah, that's exactly why
it'll
we
be
want to
like
move to Arizona.
40, it'll be, here's what winter is here. We get 4 days of snow and everybody loses their mind. And then the rest of it is mostly 39 and damp.
Yep, and damp.
Just damp.
Wet in some way. It's either raining, kind of raining, or misting, or thick
full
fog.
On, it could be full on raining. So real quick, with the pickleball thing, did they start it off playing with the kids and then the adults just were like having too much fun and took over and pushed the kids out of the game?
Pretty much.
Kind of what it sounds
They
like.
let the kids, come up with some ideas, but then they were like, wait, no, what if we do this? And what if we do that? And pretty much they took over this game and created it for the kids to play with them. But it's a big family game now.
I just see like, what were the guys' names again?
Bill and Joel are the two. Joel Pritchard's the one. We're at his house. It's his garage where we find
I just see Joel like palming little Billy away. Get out of the way.
Move it. Don't touch it. Yes, the guys get all aggressive and start. Yeah,
well, hip checks his 9-year-old.
Some of the stories, I kind of wonder if that didn't happen. They don't say that. They seem like it's a friendly game that has, but then little things like so. As the game evolved, they realized the badminton net was too high for the wiffle ball, which by design it didn't travel far. In a stroke of genius, or perhaps obviousness, they lowered the net to waist high. Joel Pritchard's waist to be exact, because every time they would run into the net or hit it with the ball or the paddle, it would move and they have to readjust it. This way, it was always Joel's waist, so it was always exactly the same. But this made it so it was way easier to just slam the ball right over the net, slam it down, and that's a point, right? Serve over. So they had to create a no volley zone because slamming it over was making the game no fun. And according to my friend Susie, who's an avid pickleball player, it's called the kitchen. You got to stay out of the kitchen. It's a no-no zone. My question was, why did they name it the kitchen? Stay out of the kitchen. I don't know. Was it hot? I don't know.
So how do you get a touchdown in pickleball?
A point? Well, we're getting there.
It's not a touchdown?
No.
Is it a goal? A base?
It's actually, it's definitely a goal. Just kidding. I think it's just a point. It's boring. It's just a point.
What is it in baseball?
It's a run.
A run, that's right.
Yeah.
How do you get a run in pickleball?
When you get the shits. I don't know. Just kidding.
With those little white shorts, too. That's
right. That's what I was picturing. Somebody running away. Little tight shorts.
Clenching their little butt cheeks in those little white shorts.
Totally what and the striped socks.
Oh, yeah. The crew socks pulled halfway up the calf.
Yeah. I don't know who this guy is, but it's cracking me up. The group played into the evening, and when they went to bed that night, they continued to run iterations through their head. So for Shea, because she doesn't get it.
Nope.
Pickleball, starting with its name, is a sport that always has people wondering, how did it get its name? It's kind of like tennis. It's kind of like ping pong. It's kind of like badminton, but it's not like any of them. How did they come to settle on the rules and not the others? It's quirky, and people want to know how the kitchen came to be the no-no zone, or why a badminton net is used but differently, or why the paddles are the way they are. So don't forget to go to rainydayrabitholes.com and harass the crap out of Shea Also, find our posts on Instagram and Facebook and make sure to comment and shame her.
Shame me. It's fine. Shame me for my lack of interest in sports balls.
You don't understand. This has taken like 6 months for me to convince her that this would actually be a topic somebody would want to hear about because nobody likes pickleball. Who
We
cares?
actually recorded an episode of Pickleball, and I was so bored that I was like, we can't release this because I basically fell asleep.
I have been trying to convince her that this is not boring to everyone.
It would be like if you're like, Shea, would you like to come on our sports podcast? I'd be like, no.
You don't want me on your
No,
sports
you do
show.
not. I will be terrible.
I will ruin it like everything else.
100%. Would you like your sports ruined? I will just sit there and make fun of the outfits, uniforms, that football outfit. No,
I think they're outfits until you're on a team. Is that a uniform?
yes, it's still an outfit. It's your baseball outfit.
Oh my gosh. It's a uniform.
Rich, we were stuck watching baseball at a bar. Rich and
watching
I.
baseball.
Well, that was what was on. And sometimes when you've been together for 20 years, sometimes you run out of things to say to each other. So you just watch the sports on the TV. And so I, of course, just made fun of the pants because they make all the baseball players look dumpy. They make them look like they have a load in their pants, and they make them all look like they have a dad belly.
Yes.
So some of them might. I think that you can be a baseball player and be a little bit.
Yeah.
You
can be a little more out of shape for that.
Yeah, you can have a dad bod and be a baseball player. Because really, they don't do a whole.
Definitely. Have you watched
like little spurts of energy, and the rest of it is kind of sitting around watching people.
Like adult softball, the softer version of baseball, is heavily loaded.
That's a very nice way to say it.
I've slid under a third baseman before and had to get help. Funny story, my dad was the third base coach, and I'm like, help, because this person wouldn't get off me. I think they liked having me pinned, and I'm like, hands and feet, help, help. My dad's just laughing. Thanks, Dad. I'm an adult with a full-grown third baseman on me.
Well, I think at a point, too, people just need help getting up off the ground.
I wasn't there yet. But
there. Maybe now.
That person might have, because they were hefty. But also they were
fully
laughing.
loaded.
They were like, nope, not getting up.
Oh, that's great.
The following weekend, another Bainbridge Island summerer, Barney McCollum, joined the fray. Barney, known for his mechanical skills and knack for turning the mundane activities into uproarious events, immediately saw the potential with this new game. Together, the trio fine-tuned the rules and the equipment. Barney is really the driver of this sport as you see it today. It really would have stayed in the backyard of the Pritchards' home if it wasn't for Barney. He crafted the first official pickleball paddle out of plywood that very next weekend. He saw that the ping pong paddles weren't hanging, and he said, we got to do something. They were heavy, unwieldy, and had the aerodynamic qualities of a brick, but it was a start. So over time, the paddles evolved. He put on rounded handles, and they use lightweight materials like aluminum and graphite now, making the game faster and more enjoyable. Barney's design, as far as the shape and size, stands today. Shea specifically has called this out as a boring part of the story.
Yes.
She clearly cannot see the genius in this.
Don't give a shit about your pickleball paddle design.
She clearly doesn't see the genius of Barney, but this was done just weeks after the creation. And yesterday we had our Father's Day early, and the plan was to have a pickleball tournament and picnic dinner.
Saying so many P's in this story. Yeah. Sorry, we had to take the pop screen off so she could see her computer. So we are sorry about this.
We're poppy peas
because there's plastic pickleball paddles and picnics.
They're not plastic pickleball paddles. Aluminum or graphite. And I just said aluminum.
At least you didn't say aluminum.
Yes, aluminum. I had ordered a pickleball kit for our tournament, and then I ordered an additional 2 paddles, and those didn't come. So I went on a hunt to get 2 more paddles, and I went to 2 stores with empty racks where the pickleball paddles were because it's so popular, Shea.
No, it's because the store stopped stocking them because nobody was buying them.
No. They were freshly gone. There was plenty of ping pong paddles, badminton rackets, and tennis rackets, which, by the way, are all different sizes, shapes, and have morphed over the years, but not the pickleball paddle because it was perfect the first time around, size and shape-wise.
Sure. We're doing paddle shape positivity over here.
The wiffle ball has remained a constant. It has not changed. They continue to use a wiffle ball. Its perforated design allowed for unpredictable bounces and added an element of surprise that kept players on their toes and occasionally on their backsides. This is why I really wanted to play pickleball yesterday. I wanted to see all the chaos that happened.
You want to see all your kids on your butt so you could laugh at them.
My kids, my grandkids. It would have been fun to just watch. The scoring system you were asking about earlier, they came up with a pretty simple system. The games are played to 11 points. You must win by a margin of 2 points, and only the serving team can score. So if you're serving and you win that serve, then you get a point. If you don't win that serve, then you have to turn the serve over to the other team, but they don't get the point on that exchange. So you have to be
volley. Is that
yeah,
what they
I think
call
it'd be probably a volley if it's like
I played tennis once and I'm so bad at it.
So bad.
Rich said I'm never going to do this again.
my tennis coach gave me the assignment of hitting the ball against the wall for the whole year.
That'd probably be what I would have to do.
It left the court multiple times. I'm a softball player.
So you hit it as hard as you can.
Hard and far.
Your goal is to get it over that fence.
The first time that happened, I was
into
like,
the crowd.
oh, wow, that's not the same as softball. Look how far I can
All
hit
the
a
people
tennis
in
ball.
the park around the tennis
Yeah.
courts are pissed at you because you
Yes.
keep hitting their kids on the head with your tennis ball because you keep trying to get it out of the ring. What do
I
they
keep
call
trying
it?
to get a court. I keep trying to get a home run every hit.
Like, there's no home run in tennis, bitch.
Keep the ball to yourself. It was a wreck. Matches are best 2 of 3. And this is where my competitive side comes out when I read these rules. I actually stay away from competitive sports most times. And I know Keith keeps saying that I'm competitive, and we've played games and I don't get that competitive because it just makes me mean. I go for the win and I will win.
Yeah.
I will take you down.
I've seen a little
and I
sliver
will
when
win.
we play nerds, a little bit.
Yes. And so I try just to not give a shit because otherwise I'm going to take you down. So I feel like the reason you, Shea, don't like ball sports or team sports, and you did mention it earlier, is because people like little girls like me when you were learning to play sports. I was the girl that was screaming at you because you missed the ball.
Yes.
I would not have picked you.
Nope.
In sports. So I would like to apologize on behalf of all of us aggressive mean girls for ruining sports for you.
Thank you.
And then I would also like to challenge you to a game of pickleball.
Okay. I'll do it.
Hey, if we're playing against each other, I won't be so mean. If you're on my team fucking up, I'm going to yell at you. Just kidding.
I don't have great hand-eye coordination.
Oh,
just to let you
perfect.
know.
It should be a really good game for me. I won't have to get competitive. What do you mean? I watched you play nerds. That's hand-eye coordination at its finest.
But it's close. I'm not good at okay, so when balls fly at me, my doctor says I can't
They land
play
on
any,
my forehead.
My doctor says I can't play any sport where balls fly at my nose. There goes your social life. Have you not watched Clueless lately?
I don't want to tell you.
You've seen no. You girl. Okay, can we have a movie night soon?
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
And we're gonna watch
many movies.
Clueless at least. The best movie of the 90s.
I know Regina George is the name. Becky is a term. Becky was one of them, right? Becky. I hear that a lot. No, that wasn't that show.
No, but Brittany Murphy was in it, and Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah,
the dude from Scrubs.
Oh, yeah.
And Paul Rudd as Alicia Silverstone, who was 15 at the beginning of the movie, had her sweet 16 in the movie. Paul Rudd was her 19-year-old stepbrother, and that was her love interest that they got together with in the end of the movie. And you're like, okay, that's not okay.
No.
But Paul Rudd just doesn't crack, man.
Right.
He just has a little bit more character on his face now, but still looks the same. He's fantastic. Love him. Alicia Silverstone was great in it, but it has one of the best lines in all movies from the 90s said by Brittany Murphy. You're just a virgin who can't drive. And then Alicia Silverstone goes, oh, that's way harsh, Ty. Love it. Okay, anyways, apropos of nothing, but we're going to watch Clueless soon.
Okay.
We have to.
I have a lot of iconic movies I haven't watched. I'm really bad.
Are we done with pickleball?
No,
God damn it.
not even close.
Are there
we have
any other great sports and weird sports in the Pacific Northwest to talk about?
This is
I
the
know
most
you-
popular sport globally from the Northwest.
I think you're lying. I think it's fake news.
Hold on, I have a whole stack of facts.
Fake news. I don't need facts.
I have Stats. 8.9 players in the U.S. as of 2022.
8.9 players?
8 million players. 6 out of 10 are men. What do you think the average age of a pickleball player
65.
is? 38.1 years old. 1.2 players are college graduates. That means we're fucking smart and educated.
Say 1.2%.
1.2 million players. 4 new courts per day open in this country.
They're all in Florida and Arizona, I'm telling you.
Seattle has 3 courts per 20,000 residents, highest among all the cities, 49 known pickleball courts. This was as of 2022. It continues to grow.
I bet you that the percentage is higher now in Phoenix area.
Yeah. So I was down there in March, I believe, with visiting my mother-in-law, and they were actually converting all of their tennis courts into pickleball courts because nobody was using the tennis courts, and the pickleball courts had to wait. So they were converting to pickleball. They were giving up the tennis world. Pickleball. It's a weird name, and the number one question about the game is, how did it get its name? During the first few weeks, suggestions ranged from the uninspired bat ball to the inaccurate whack-a-mole. Then Joel's wife, Joan, suggested pickleball. There are 2 theories on where the suggestion came from. One thought is the name was inspired from the term pickle boat, a rowing term for a boat of mixed crew members. So you've got your crew rowing across the water there, and you've got a pickle boat full of subs. So
and they were rich people, and they probably rowed. They probably went to University of Washington and were on the rowing team.
They were in Bainbridge Island and lived in Seattle in the Magnolia.
Yeah, and they probably went to University of Washington, which has a pretty big rowing team.
A boat full of substitute crew members. Maybe you needed to sub out your stroker. Maybe you needed to sub out your coxswain. So you call on your pickle boat.
Thank you.
It was a mismatch of crew members, much like a mismatch of rules and equipment for pickleball. So there's a thought that that's it. But others, like myself, I want to believe this is the case. I believe it was named after the Pritchard's dog, Pickles, who had a knack for stealing the ball during play. So the truth remains a mystery, but pickleball stuck.
Do we know what kind of dog Pickle was?
No. I wonder if he's on the pictures. We'll
okay, I am very disappointed in your lack of thorough investigation into this.
You'd
at least
that
need
I'd
to
care.
know
I didn't
what
even
this
care.
dog was.
I literally didn't care.
It's the most important part of the story. Is the dog.
I did not care.
But I like that their dog, they're playing it and the dog keeps stealing the ball and they keep having to chase him. So they're like, that's Pickle's ball.
Right. It makes the most sense.
Pickle, that's not your ball.
Yes.
Pickle, that's not your...
It makes the most sense.
Pickle, not ball. Pickleball.
Right.
I love it.
I love it too.
That's it. Let's go with that.
I'm sticking with it.
Yes. Let's spread that as fact. And it will one day become. See, if you had brought up more dog stuff in this story, I would have been more excited about it.
Oh, well, we're going to talk about how this dog died. No, I'm just kidding. He choked on the ball. Just kidding. Would that make you happy, Shea?
No. If the dog died, I mean, I know the dog's dead at this point.
Yeah, it was 1965.
But Pickle lives on.
Pickle lives on. In fact, I might name my next dog Pickle just because I think it's so cute.
You should.
How does it go from the backyard of Joel Pritchard's Bainbridge Island summer home to over 9 million players in the U.S.? I will let you know after the break.
The Pacific Northwest is one of the most diverse regions in the country.
From thick evergreen forests, wide open empty landscapes, crashing ocean waves, and busy cities, the PNW has something to offer everyone, even the most evil among us. Welcome to the mysterious Pacific Northwest. I'm your host, Jen. Alongside me is my co-host and partner in crime, Sarah.
We both grew up here in the PNW and know all too well the dark and mysterious secrets our stunning part of the country holds. Each week we will tell you stories of evil murders, hauntings, folklore, otherworldly creatures, and dark history, sometimes hidden in plain sight.
Join us as we unveil the shadows and unravel the dark secrets of the mysterious Pacific Northwest.
Follow us on Instagram at MysteriousPNWPod.
And on TikTok at MysteriousPNWPod for behind-the-scenes content for each episode.
And as always, send episode suggestions to MysteriousPNWPod@gmail.com.
Word of pickleball spread like wildfire over Bainbridge Island. What started as a weekend pastime quickly turned into a full-blown obsession. Neighbors set up makeshift courts in their driveways, and the distinctive pop of the wiffle ball became a familiar noise on the island. When Barney returned home to Magnolia after the summer, a whole hour away from his summer retreat, maybe not, he set up a court in his cul-de-sac and introduced it to this group of neighbors. And one of those neighbors was the first to put an official court in their backyard when they remodeled. They put in the first pickleball court ever created. Local schools and community centers adopted the game, and soon pickleball clubs formed, complete with tournaments and bragging rights. The game's appeal lay in the accessibility. Young or old, athletic or not, unless you don't have hand-eye coordination, apparently, anyone could pick up a paddle and join in the fun. By the early 1970s, pickleball had outgrown Bainbridge Island. Joel, Bill, and Barney were invited to demonstrate their creation at community events and sports exhibitions across the Pacific Northwest. Their enthusiasm and humor were infectious, and audiences couldn't resist their charm of this quirky game.
They were probably just wearing those tiny little white shorts that were popular in the 70s, and so people showed up to see that.
Exactly. They sound like they were quite a crew. I mean, everybody that talks about them just really adores them as human beings,
nice.
So it makes it kind of a nice story. Joel Pritchard was bringing the game to his campaign events and setting up tournaments as part of his appeal. It was a selling point, Shea. He was using it to be elected. Barney was forced to turn his hobby into a business as orders for pickleball kits were more than he could keep up with. They also just needed a bank account or a way to even charge people who wanted these kits. They didn't market any of this ever.
So they needed to set up an LLC.
They set up an LLC, and Pickleball Inc. was formed in 1969, just out of the
69
as a drive from people who wanted it. Shea.
Okay, sure, whatever.
And the first official pickleball tournament
There's
was
only
held,
like 5 TV stations at that time.
gosh, I think there might have been 3.
3.
I don't think Fox was
And
around.
all of them played Howdy Doody.
I feel like 4, 5, and 7, maybe, and then 9.
And maybe the Brady Bunch.
You had your ABC, NBC, CBC, and PBC. CBS, that's what I meant, not CBC.
CBC would be Canadian Broadcasting.
Yeah,
right?
CBS and PBS. And then eventually you get Channel 11, which is KTCS or something.
I don't know.
But
Let's
there was
move
nothing.
on with pickleball so we can get through
Which
it.
probably wasn't even on TV. As pickleball grew, so did the competitive side. The USA Pickleball Association was founded in 1984 to promote the sport and establish a standard of set rules. I can only imagine the arguments that were happening over the rules when they weren't any rules. Yeah, nothing was written. No, at Bob's place, that was a foul. That's
Barney once said that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
And now they have a set of rules. The first USA Pickleball Association national tournament took place in 2009, attracting players from all over the United States. Professional pickleball players emerged, each bringing their unique flair to the game. The sport saw an influx of athletes from tennis, badminton, racquetball, and each adding their own strategies to the style mix. The game's appeal is now global.
Sure, whatever.
Very global, Shea. Yes, people do care about pickleball and want to hear about it. Pickleball found its way to Europe.
Not me.
Asia, probably in Japan. It didn't specify, but I'm sure.
They're into weird shit over there.
Australia, and quickly gained a following. International pickleball organizations sprang up and the sport's global community flourished. In 2010, the International Federation of Pickleball. So now they have another one, Shea. 2010, the International Federation of Pickleball was established to oversee the game's growth worldwide. The IFP worked tirelessly to standardize rules and promote.
You know what else is a worldwide thing? Crocs.
Picking on Shea
doesn't mean that it's bad.
It's my
it's
favorite part of this episode. Tournaments with international participants became commonplace, and pickleball enthusiasts from different cultures bonded.
All 5 of them.
Different cultures all over the world bonded over their love of the game, and it all came from a Pacific Northwest backyard.
Well, that's special.
Right. That's the whole point of this rabbit hole. Is this is a global, worldwide, passionate sport that just keeps, for some reason, growing even faster every day.
Octopus Wrestling didn't take off globally.
No, it did not. But it was right. It was just literally born from traditionally Pacific Northwesterners just out trying to have a good day in the not so great weather. And I'm not the only one who chooses to believe that Pickles, the dog, was the source of the name.
I believe it. I like it.
I think it has to be the answer.
This is the best part of the story yet.
In honor of Pickles, the USA Pickleball Association holds an annual Pickles Day tournament where players dress up in dog-themed costumes and the winner receives a golden pickleball-shaped trophy.
Okay, that's the only pickleball tournament I would ever watch.
It's a fitting tribute to the canine that may or may not have inspired the sport.
I go with May.
Today, pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the world with millions of players and a vibrant community. Yeah, people,
second only to outhouse racing.
They all love each other. It's actually, as I've gone around talking to people, they're like, I love that sport. And then I tell the story about how Shea hates it. And they're like, she's ridiculous.
I'm going to get hate mail.
Yeah, that's why I keep putting it in here.
I'm
where
going to
to
get
go.
death threats for pickleball fans.
That's why I keep putting it in there so they know where to go to do it. From its humble beginnings on Bainbridge Island to its status as a global phenomenon, pickleball's journey is a testament to the power of creativity, community, and a good sense of humor. Joel Pritchard, Bill Bell, Barney McCollum could never have imagined that their impromptu invention would become a beloved pastime for people of all ages all over the world. So next time you pick up a paddle and step onto the court, remember the amusing and wholesome origins of pickleball and these three friends who turned a misty Northwest summer day into a global sensation. And my next dog's name is Pickle.
I think it's a great idea. My next dog's name is Barney.
Oh, Barney and Pickle, that'd be perfect. We could go places and we'd understand the joke, and then we'd tell them to listen to our podcast, and they would understand.
Also, I think Barney. I always think of Barney as like the drunk guy at the bar.
Oh, not the dinosaur?
No.
You clearly didn't have kids in the 90s.
Thank you.
Wait, you were practically a kid in the 90s.
I was a teenager in the 90s.
Did you even babysit Barney lovers?
I did. My neighbors did definitely watch Barney, and I definitely tuned it out while I was raiding their pantry for all their snacks. Well, thank you, Jody. That was really fun, even the pickleball part. You guys can all send me your hate mail. Sorry, I just can't get into it.
And thank you for listening bearing through the pickleball part to hear all the other fun stuff.
At least I got to hear about a little derg.
A little dog named Pickle. Well, that's not disputed, too. They definitely had a dog named Pickle. So to me, it's like,
it's
duh.
I think that's a foregone conclusion.
I mean,
that is it.
I like that the pickle boat story's out there because it's kind of funny.
You can say stroker and
Coxswain.
Coxswain.
Oh, Coxswain.
Coxswain.
And you can, if you need a substitute for either of those.
Have you seen the Instagram video of the lady that's like, how do you know if white cock or black cock is right for the job? She's like,
okay. So yesterday, Keith's making the hot dogs on the Blackstone, and my mom's talking, and I'm just getting something. I can hear her talking about, I really, really like my wieners really black, but I like them big and juicy. Like I want it to look like it's going to shoot me in the eye.
No, she did not.
The whole thing. I want it to look like it's going to shoot me in the eye when I put it in my mouth.
Oh, God, no, Mom.
It's 24 hours later. I'm dying.
Can you say that all again while I film it? Please.
I went into the house, repeated this story, and my brother and a couple other people were like, no, she did not say that. Stop saying that.
You're making it up. You got to be making that up. Oh, that made me cry a little bit.
No, I mean, the whole thing was like, it just kept getting worse as she was talking.
My mom and I were up at the beach house on May Day. And my mom goes, hey, it's the 1st of May. Outside sex starts today. I was like, Mom, stop. Wait, hold on. I got to pull out my camera. Say it again. So I have it. Hey, it's the 1st of May. Outside sex starts today. So, Mom, I love you so much. I've never loved you more in my life.
What is she talking about? Is she talking about the animals? Like, what is she talking? She just means we go outside and have sex?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that, but I'm in. I'm just kidding.
She's like, oh, my sister taught me that. And then she called her sister later, and her sister was like, no, I said outside activities start today. She was like, oh, I guess I misheard.
That's what happens when you have a dirty mind.
I wouldn't put it past my Aunt Nara to come up with the outside sex.
Maybe she was thinking activities and actually said sex.
Right. Activities with quotes.
She accidentally let out what activity she was thinking of.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening.
I'm wiping my eyes right now.
Thank you so much. And remember, we have a Patreon. And if you could just sling $5 a month to us so we could pay ourselves back, it'll take us 3 years at $5 a month to pay off what we've put into this. But we would love it because it'll help us continue forward. And it'll be like, hey, somebody likes us. It will really be more about emotionally supporting us than financially supporting us. So again, we'll post that on our Facebook page and our website. And if you can't do that, that's cool. But you know what really helps to support us is sharing the podcast. So if you can spread it around, I don't know where I was going with that. Spread it like peanut butter jelly, as it goes. Spread it like an STI.
I was just going to keep it to myself. I was picking some. I was going to name them.
Spread it like herpes.
Yes. Like a hot case of herpes.
What we really want is for our podcast to infect 75% of the population's ears like herpes affects 75% of the population.
Is that a fact?
I don't know. I made it up. Probably.
Something like that.
Something like that.
At least the mouth version.
Exactly.
I can't remember which simplex it is. I'm only a nurse. One, yeah.
I think 2 is the one that gets you down below the belt. Right. Anywho, did not mean to bring up sexually transmitted infections on this. I'm going to cut that part.
Why? Why start now? Censoring.
Speaking of, you can go listen to our Bigfoot porn episode on Patreon.
The only reason you wanted to cut that is because this got long, not because it got bad.
They got long and hard. Sorry.
Continues.
Okay. We're going to stop now. Go to our website. You can find stuff there. Follow us on Facebook. Share. Please follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you haven't yet. And you know what? We are looking pretty thin on the reviews on Apple Podcasts. So leave us a nice 5-star review. Say something lovely about us. If you have something bad to say, don't say it at all.
Don't hurt us. Help us.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you next time. See you down the rabbit hole.